Hello everyone. I hope you are doing good and safe at your homes. So TechInfoRay is back with another interesting video and playlist. So in this, I'll discuss about AWS migration planning and approach. So far I have created a lot of videos for creating infrastructure over AWS and also created some videos for Microsoft Azure also. So now I'm back with another video where we will discuss about migration from on-premises to AWS cloud. So in this video, we will talk about planning, how to plan the migration, what all things needs to be kept in mind, and the approach, how to lift and shift, or what approach we are going to follow. So all these things we will discuss in this video. So I'll create small videos so that you can see all those videos and then watch all the videos. This is the first part of the video. So next part I'll create another video. So this is a whole complete playlist, so you can go through it and learn this very interesting concept of migration. So and mostly this is the way how in actual migration is done when a customer comes on board and comes with problems and challenges. He says that I have a number of servers or workloads or applications, and I want to migrate those servers to AWS cloud. So that's how things start, and then workshops are conducted, and then that's migration is planned. So same thing I'm going to discuss in this video. So I hope it will help you to clear your migration concepts, and you will learn a lot of things over here. So moving forward, so agenda of this slide is we will talk about migration planning and approach. Also, there are practicals in this video. So whatever I am talking theoretically, I'll show you all those things in practical also. So migration planning and approach, we will start with assessment of the current environment and how we can mobilize it and then migrate it. So these are the basic concepts, how we are going to assess the current environment of customer, and then using various tools, we mobilize it, we provide various ways to create business cases and assessment, and how we can move forward so that customer can have a clear picture and transparency out of it. And after that, once everything is okay with the customer, then we start migration of the workloads to AWS cloud. So these are basic things and how we plan migration and approach. And then after that, migration practicals in this. In this, we will discuss about the architecture discussion, the architecture that will be in place, that is for on-premises and for Microsoft Azure, and then how it will be migrated to AWS cloud. So I'll discuss about the architecture also. Then there is a AWS cloud formation script already present, so we will deploy that in environment, the architecture using that cloud formation template that is created by AWS for learning purposes. So I'm using that AWS cloud formation stack to deploy the architecture, so that we need not to waste time in creating the base infrastructure, but here we are stressing more on migration concepts. So base infrastructure that will be deployed using the CloudFormation stack. So just click on the stack and whole infrastructure will be ready. So after that, you can start performing your practicals to clear your migration concepts. So if you are not sure about how to create instances, how to connect that and all those basic concepts, I would suggest you to go to my previous videos where you will learn how to create network infrastructure, create compute, create how to connect them. So various lot of things are there, basics. So that's very important to learn. Only then you will understand the things in the migration practicals. So once architecture is deployed using CloudFormation, then we will, I'll show you practically the migration approach, which is called rehost. So we will rehost the environment from on-premises to Azure. from on-premises and from Microsoft Azure to AWS. And in that, we will also see about another migration approach, which is called a re-platform. So these are two different migration approaches we will discuss in this video. And then we will use AWS Application Discovery software. In that, I'll show you practically how to discover all those infrastructure, the dependencies of the application and network connections. And once we have all that information in place, then we'll start migrating the workload using AWS Application Migration Service. So very interesting thing and very interesting concept of using AWS migration service to lift and shift or rehost the environment. So this will automatically select the servers, and then we can migrate those servers from on-premises and from Azure to AWS. So once this is done, once we lift and shift the applications, the databases to AWS, after that we need to modernize the infrastructure. So we will use the already migrated lift and shift rehost database. So we will migrate that database to AWS database, AWS managed database using AWS Data Migration Service. So first we will lift and shift, then we will migrate that database to AWS managed database. So sort of modernization of the infrastructure, so that we can leverage the AWS cloud services. So, and we can concentrate more on the business part. So because I hope you understand the concept in my previous videos that when we are using AWS managed services, we are not concerned about underlying infrastructure, the underlying maintenance and the patching, the hosting of operating system and installation of database patching. So all these things, and high availability, of course, and the availability of the service. So we need not to worry about that. So once we move to AWS managed services, then we need not to worry about that. We use the service and pay for that on demand. And more important, based on demand. So for the time being, we will use that service. We need to pay for that only. So let's move forward, and let's have more. What I'm going to cover in this series of videos, I'll cover that in first part of video, and then I'll start with the practicals. So migration planning and approach, I explained assess, mobilize, and migrate. So in this, this is the overview how migration planning is done. So in the assess part, we will use various tools to assess the current infrastructure of the customer. So we will assess the readiness of the customer environment, how much it is ready, and assess from various aspects, from business part, from financial part, and from IT infrastructure applications. So all those things are assessed, like the how much environment is ready to migrate to cloud, and based on that we prioritize the things which can be migrated first. So that's all done in the migration planning and approach. So there is a tool for MPA tool is there. So we will use various tools for that, and we will assess the readiness of current infrastructure, which is very important. So that's the important thing in migration. The more and more information that you have for the current infrastructure, the migration will be more and more smooth. So we also understand the challenges of the customer current in the current environment, what kind of challenges they are facing. So there can be a end of lease of the data center. So customer want to move to AWS cloud, so that can be a one part of challenge that customer is facing. So keeping all those challenges, the pain points, and long-term perspective of the customer, so we will assess the current readiness of the infrastructure, and based on that we create a business use case. So after discovery of environment, we will create a business use case, for the customer. So in this business case, we will use MPA tool, and in that we will get the cost analysis of current infrastructure, the total cost of ownership, because when we talk about on-premises infrastructure, there is a lot of cost for not only, we cannot say we are paying for only one server. So if we want to understand the complete cost of the environment, then we will need to assess all those basic things, underlying infrastructure, the cost of the property where data center is created, the rents that we are paying for it, and the cooling part, the physical security. So a lot of things are there that comes into picture while analyzing the cost of the infrastructure. So based on that, we create total cost of ownership of the environment, how the total cost that is running currently and in future also, how much needs to be paid. So based on that, we create the business case where a customer come to know about the current costing, and then how much cost will be there on AWS cloud. So all those things are discussed in detail, and how the migration to AWS cloud will be benefited. So all these things are done in assessment part, and then after that, migration project briefing. So once everything is done, we gather the information, we assess the readiness of the infrastructure, of the environment from different perspectives, and also understood the challenges, the pain points, and long-term strategy of the customer. Then we conduct a workshop with the stakeholders, and then brief about the migration of the project, that how things will be done, the milestone, the risks, and the challenges that are there. So all those, and how to create the business use case that is created using business case milestone. And during the workshop, we present all that use case, the cost analysis, the TCO reporting. So all these things are presented to the stakeholders so that they can take their decisions, they will find it like, okay, moving to a cloud will be really helpful and benefit for the for the business, from financial standpoint of view. So all these things are discussed in the migration project briefing and workshop with the stakeholders. So once this is done, then we will come to next phase, which is called Mobilize. So in this, discovery and planning is done. So discovery and planning into more depth, using various tools like application discovery surveys, and what all we check the dependencies of the application, the network connections, and the planning for landing zone on AWS. So all these things are discussed in detail, and skill assessment of the customer existing environment, existing resources. Do they have relevant skills? So once all the infrastructure is moved to AWS cloud, do they have skills or not? So all those things are discussed in Mobilize. Creation of business case, more details are inserted into the business case to make it more effective for understanding for the customer. Then also we discuss about migration planning and approach. So in this migration planning and approach, we will discuss what all infrastructure will be migrated, what will be done in phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, so that the less critical things can be migrated first and tested. Then the second phase, medium critical applications can be moved, and in the final stage, more and more critical things will be moved. So initially, a customer is not having confidence to move to cloud. So once we complete phase 1 and phase 2, so they will gain more confidence, and he can move to AWS cloud with more confidence. And how the operating model will look like. So all these things are discussed in Mobilize. But on the top of that, we need to also think about security and compliance of the environment. So how to meet the current security requirements, what all security in architecture is in place, so that, and assess the security policies. So based on those current security infrastructure, the framework, the security policies, and the understanding of compliance requirements, the regulations. So very important thing during migration. So so understand the current infrastructure, the servers, the application, migration, database, and how access is controlled, the authorization is done, the encryption is done. So from security standpoint of view, all these things are very important, needs to be discussed and clarified with the customer. So that same, all these things can be created on the AWS cloud. So after that, next phase is the the migration and modernization. So using various AWS tools, we will migrate the workloads based on the planning, the planning that we did in assessment, the mobilization. So based on that, we will actually move the servers from on-premises to AWS cloud, and also start the operations of the migrated environment. And after that, when it is migrated, we mostly use lift and shift initially, but later we will also think about modernizing of the current infrastructure. Modernizing, I mean to say, uh, uh, moving the current infrastructure from, like in lift and shift, we migrate the servers to the EC2 instances, but that's not the correct way of leveraging the AWS cloud services or the cloud benefits. So in that case, we will move to modernizing the infrastructure, like the database that is running on EC2 instances, we will migrate that database to AWS managed database service, and also optimized from various aspects like costing optimization, the utilization of servers. So all these things are done in modernize and optimization. The licenses part, so are they having correct license for database? So all these things are discussed in modernization and optimization. So so how you understand the basic concept, how customer migration planning overview and approach is done. So based on various phases, so phase one assessment, then mobilize, then after that migration and modernization of the infrastructure. So I hope it gives clarity how things are done at various stages, and gain customer confidence so that he can successfully migrate, and also gather more and more information from different perspectives. And in the end, once customer is migrated to cloud, he can see all those benefits. So that's very important to meet all those requirements. So I hope you will get very high level about what all is done in different phases, how migration is done. So let's move forward. So this is the reference architecture that I am going to use in this series of videos, where we will talk about the migration. So we will migrate. Although we do not have current customer data center in place, but we will create this environment on AWS itself. But and we will create one target environment on AWS itself, and using AWS services, we will migrate this environment to AWS, and also from Microsoft Azure cloud, we will create servers, and from there also we will migrate the server from Azure to AWS. So this is the reference architecture. We will create this infrastructure. So this will be similar to like the how customer data center looks like, and a creation of various subnets, and how different application servers are in place, the databases are in place. So this is a kind of similar kind of environment that is in place for customer data center, and how we are going to plan the same environment on the AWS cloud. So on the AWS cloud also, we create the same the region in which we are going to host the infrastructure, the VPC, the migration, the planning for creating the subnets for migration, and target subnet where we are going to deploy the customer infrastructure. Similarly, we will use various AWS services like Migration Hub, Application Discovery Service, Application Migration Service, and Database Migration Service to migrate the applications for lift and shift and modernization of the databases from customer data center and from Microsoft Azure cloud. So these are the two different use cases that I'm going to discuss in this series of videos, and that will help you to understand how we are going to migrate, what all things needs to be considered, what all different steps are there. So I would suggest to start from part one and go forward by understanding the basic concept so that you can gain confidence out of it. So I hope the reference migration architecture is clear what we are going to discuss. We are going to discuss all this infrastructure, this diagram that will be discussed throughout this series of migration videos. So understand what exactly in this is so that you do not get confused at the later stage. Also, one more thing, we will use AWS CloudFormation template to deploy all this infrastructure. So there is one template is already in place from AWS. So we will use that and deploy all these infrastructure on AWS. And the prerequisite that you should have the AWS free tier account. You can create that. In case you're not sure how to create that, you can watch my previous videos. And once we log into AWS Cloud, then we can use all these services. But for to create this environment, you need a separate account for Microsoft Azure, how to create a server, and how to migrate from that Azure to AWS. So we will create this, and from Bastion host, we will access all these servers for on-premises and all these databases from on-premises. And then using Migration Hub, we will deploy agents for migration. So that's quite interesting concept and interesting use cases that will be discussed in this. So let's move forward. Currently I'm discussing high level what all will be there in the series of this. So, but all these practicals, the discussion will be based on this only. So this is the base migration architecture that I am going to discuss, and based on that, all videos will be moved forward. So migration reference architecture. So we will deploy the architecture that I discussed using the CloudFormation stack, and then we will access the environment from AWS Cloud, and like we will access this Bastion host from our laptop, and this is our current laptop. So from this over the internet, we will access it and access the Bastion host. So from Bastion host, we will access application server, another application server and database for this application and database for this application. So from there, from this Bastion host is as I described before. This is similar to customer data center. That's how things are done. They have one Bastion host in the public subnet and all the application servers in the private subnets that are not exposed to environment. So our main concept over here is that we need to discuss about the migration concepts using this demo. So we have created all this infrastructure over the AWS cloud, but sort of similar case of environment that exists in customer data center. So all these things are in place like that. So using the CloudFormation stack, we will deploy all this infrastructure, and then the creation of network components, the creation of compute parts, all these, and databases. So all these creation of Bastion host, creation of application server, DB server, that is done through CloudFormation stack. And then we access the Bastion and explore our environment. So I'll show you all these things practically. So first, I'm just giving you high level what all will be discussed in this practical in this series of videos. So I hope you understand the current environment and how things are in place, the architecture that I'm discussing about. So moving forward. So first we will, as I discussed before, I'll using application discovery service. We will install the agents on the server and enabling ADS and Athena integration. So we will enable Athena integration so that all that data is collected using ADS that can be analyzed in Athena. And then we will install the ADS agents in the servers and start collecting the data from the servers. And then we will browse the discovered data, the network connections, the dependencies, so all these things. And also we will see what all recommendations are there for the servers that are migrated from AWS from on-premises to AWS cloud. So we will see all these things practically. So that's first part of practical that I'll showcase in the practicals. So that this is the high level of the things that I'm discussing about. So exploring in AWS Athena, very important part of the practical. So in this, we will also discuss like we will analyze the data that is gathered using ADS. the discovery tool. So we will analyze all that data, because when we talk about migration, there are thousands of servers. So we cannot analyze all that. So we need a AWS service. Athena service is there, so through which we can analyze the data that is collected by agents over AWS, so that we can plan our migration. So we'll run queries in this AWS Athena. I'll show you this practically also. So first part, collected the data, and the next part we are going to analyze the data. So this is analysis of the data that we are doing. So here we will see how many the servers that are collected, what all the IP addresses are their host names, and also we will identify servers with or without agents that are running, analyze system performance data using the agents, track inbound communication between servers, so based on port numbers, track outbound and inbound communication, identify software from port numbers. So we will assess the servers from various aspects, like the performance of the server, the connections that servers are making for inbound and outbound, and what all softwares are running on the servers, and to what port number they are making the connection. So getting more and more information, again stressing on that, the more and more information we have, so based on that information we can create the similar kind of infrastructure over the AWS cloud. So we will gather all that information on AWS cloud using AWS Athena. So we'll get all this information and it will be stored in S3 storage. So that will help you to give more insights also, and the CSV templates, the information, all those information can be downloaded in the CSV format, and so that for analysis this can be analyzed in a more graphical manner. So through that we can watch all this data in the XLS CSV format, and then we can assess the environment and gather more and more information. So once we have discovered the environment, we gather the information, then we will think about workload migration. So in this part of the series, I'll stress on how to rehost your workloads. Rehost means lift and shift. Lift and shift as it is from on-premises to AWS cloud. So I hope you remember this was the architecture that I discussed before. So in this I'll use application migration. So in the previous slides I have stressed using migration hub for monitoring, application discovery for gathering the data. So in this, when we have complete data, then we will start migration of the server using a lift and shift rehost approach. So in this I'm using application migration service, and which is the next generation of Cloud Endure migration. So previously Cloud Endure was used, but now AWS is recommending to use a application migration service. It's based on the same concept. So same concept is used for creating all those different environments and lift and shift of the servers. So for many use cases, application migration service is used because this is the fastest route to the cloud, because as per the understand of various challenges and pain points from the customer, they want to migrate some of the servers as quickly as possible to the AWS cloud. So in that case, we will use application migration service. Although there are other options also, like importing of the servers or the SMS also. But in this, I am covering in this series, I am covering application migration service. So mostly this can be used in most of the use cases. So you can use this also. So in this, we will talk about practical migration of the servers using application migration service to migrate 4 servers from on-premises to AWS cloud. And also we will also cover in the practical to migrate the server from Azure cloud. So I hope so far things are clear what exactly I'm trying to communicate in this series. So migration process, These are the basic steps that I'll cover in the series. Create application migration service, replicate IAM user, then replication settings, installing the agents on the on-premises server. So we will install the agents of application migration service on these servers, and also we will install the agent on the Azure also. So there are two parts, part one and part two. So in part one, we will migrate servers from Microsoft Azure, and similar approach is there, but only I'll show you the differences. Then configure the EC2 launch template. So EC2 launch template means the server that we are migrating from on-premises to AWS cloud. As per the recommendations also, or as per our assessment also, we can create the template on which server will be deployed. Template means the size of the instance that will be kept, the RAM that will be used. So all these details are described in the template, in which network it needs to be deployed. So all those details. Then after that, once we configured that and all the data is synced up, then we will launch the test instance based on the, so once we install the agents, the replication will start in application migration service, and based on that replication, we can launch the test instance to perform the tests on the migrated servers. So once that is done, then we will launch the cutover instance. And after cutover instance, then we ensure that okay, all those data is synced up, and we can launch cutover instance. And after performing the basic tests, once the instance is migrated, we will perform the first part. We will perform the test of the instances. So once tests are successful, then we will launch the cutover instance. So once cutover instance is launched, then we are sure everything is migrated, and then we will shut down this environment and update the DNS server. So we have one DNS server also in this environment, and we will update the DNS settings. So before DNS was pointing to this side, after that updating the DNS, it will be moved to this. So that's how actually done in use cases, industry use cases. So after migrating, we need to update the DNS. So here it is an internal DNS, but mostly in more use cases, there are external DNSs which are directing towards on-premises network. Once we are planning cutover, then all these records are directed towards AWS cloud. So that same, whatever was accessed over here, that same can be accessed from here. So updating the DNS, we will shut down this environment and update the DNS. So all that traffic will be moved to AWS cloud. So after that, we can finalize the cutover. So that's the basic thing about the migration process. So in more detail, I'll show all these things practically, how things are done, and we will discuss in more details. So moving forward, migration is done. Then this is the migration reference architecture. So once everything is migrated, then we have created EC2 instance for WordPress and database and off-biz app and off-biz DB using application migration service. So we have created all this in the target subnet. So all this infrastructure is into AWS cloud now. So these are the migrated servers once migration is done. So that's first part. So let's move forward, and the next part is the database migration. So as per the concepts that I discussed, that once migration is done, then we need to think about modernizing of the infrastructure also. So workload migration is done as I described in the previous slide. So after that, we will need to modernize also. So in this, we will modernize the infrastructure. So these are the basic steps: creating of the replication network, the launching of DNS replication instance. So all these steps will be performed during the practical setup. So basic thing that needs to be discussed in this during database migration, we will modernize the infrastructure. So moving to next slide, I'll show you how these things are done. So this is the reference architecture. So taking one application in concern, so we will this is the application in scope for this demo. So we have defined the scope. Okay, for this off-biz app, so we will migrate this database that is currently installed on EC2 instance. So we will migrate this database from EC2 instance to AWS Aurora service. Aurora service is this is AWS managed database service. So to leverage the cloud benefits, so we are moving to from EC2 instance database to AWS managed services. So all these we are doing using the AWS data migration service. So we are migrating the database from instances to Aurora DB. So here we are using the AWS managed database service to migrate the database. So that's another part of practical thing that we are going to cover. So all these things, I'll show you practically how things are done. So moving forward. So after database is migrated, so then this we will shut down the database that is running on EC2 instance, and the off-whiz app will be connected to Aurora DB. So that's a reference and target architecture in database migration. So I hope you understand the concept that how we discovered the architecture, gathered the information, analyzed the information, migrated the workloads, and then modernizing of the infrastructure. So here we are again migrating the database from EC2 instance to AWS managed services. So that was high level about the series, so that you can develop basic understanding what I'm going to cover. So in the next video, I'll perform the practicals. So in the practicals, I'll show you how to access the environment and deploy the environment. First deploy the environment, then we will access that environment, and creation of environment. I'll create small videos so you can watch those for your understanding. But this is a main slide, part one slide. Get the basic understand what all will be there in the various video parts. So I hope this will help you to understand the migration concept, and you will gather more and more concepts of migration. So in case you have any queries, don't hesitate to ping me on my email or on the comments of this video. I'll try to answer those. So that's all for this video. I'll share more concepts and practical things in the next video. So that's all for this video. See you in the next video. Hello everyone. So I hope you are doing good and safe at your location. So yesterday in one of my previous videos, I covered the high level what I'm going to cover in migration approach. So I cover the theoretical part, what all I'm going to cover in this series of discussion for migration planning and approach. So we covered the basic things, and in those basic things I explained about the reference architecture and the agenda of the slide, the migration planning and approach, and what all practicals will be done. So in this we will start deploying our architecture. So we will deploy this architecture and on AWS. So in this what I'm going to deploy, we will use the stack that is already created by AWS. So this part we will deploy using the CloudFormation and this part. So this will be deployed. So as I explained before, this is customer data center and this is AWS cloud. But since we for demo purpose we cannot create customer data center, but this will be created on the AWS cloud itself only, and we will migrate from one VPC to another VPC. So there is no difference in that. Just only difference is that it will be on the this is also on the AWS cloud, but just for demo purpose, these there are two separate scenarios, because for demo purpose we cannot create a customer data center. So all this infrastructure will be on the cloud, but for understanding purpose, all this is customer data center and this is AWS cloud. And we will create another I'll create another video for Microsoft Azure cloud. So once all this is done, then we will start the practical. So today in this video, I'll explain how to deploy this architecture using the CloudFormation stack, because we cannot create all this infrastructure. That will take a lot of time. So just deploy the architecture using cloud automation, using CloudFormation stack, and we can start our the main topic that we are covering, the migration planning. So in this, let's move forward and deploy the architecture using CloudFormation stack, and then we will explore that environment and access that environment through Bash and host. So let's deep dive into practicals that will make things more interesting. So let me get into let's deploy the architecture. So let me get to the cloud console. So I am into my AWS Cloud Console. So you can log in into your own free tier account. All these practicals are possible in your free tier account. And I'm into CloudFormation and in US West 2 region. So I am using the stack that is created by AWS for learning purposes. So I'm using the same stack to create our infrastructure. So let's deploy our stack. So these are the instructions. I'll paste these instructions in the description of this video, or I'll create a separate blog for this also. So you can just copy and paste these commands and test your practicals. So open a CloudFormation stack and create new resources, select region US West 2 and use this stack. So let's use this template and create a stack. Create stack, paste. One more thing, I faced one small problem that to deploy this stack, you need more number of elastic IPs. So in case you get an error related to EIP, then you need to increase the limit of these EIPs, elastic IP addresses. So by default, it's 5, but in case you get any error, you need to increase this limit to 10. I'll also let you know how to increase the limit of this elastic IPs. So once you go to service quotas, that's the only error that I faced while deploying this stack. So you can increase that. Sorry, not service catalog, service quotas. Yeah. So in this, if we go to Elastic Cloud, Compute Cloud, so here you will find this EC to VPC elastic IPs. So you can request AWS to increase this to 10, and then you can start deploying this stack. That's the only error that I faced to deploy this stack, and you can just request quota increase to AWS. So in case you get any error related to this, you can ask for quota increase and give them sufficient region justified that I want to test it and test this stack for migration practicals and raise this request. So create a request. So let's create stack and test our practicals. So use the same template, use these default value settings, click on next. So here use the name migration immersion day. So that's a name we have to kept. So I'll mention all those details. So you can use the same name as there are certain settings in the stack that that needs to be followed. So again, I'm telling you that I'm using the stack that is created by AWS. So you can use the same name, keep this name, else you will get a lot of errors. So there are certain settings in the stack, so you need to follow that. So let's use the So you need to mention the passwords also, admin password and root password to deploy the to manage the components that will be deployed using this. So as I described before, this will deploy the applications, their database and DNS. I'll go through it once it is done. So let's define the names and password. So let's keep admin @12. So you can keep same, else it'll give a lot of due to these policies. You can keep your own password also, but I found this quite suitable, so you can use the same one, admin123. So do mention these passwords in your notepad, so you can follow them at the later stage. admin@12, admin123. So admin123 is the root password for managing the Linux instances, and admin1 is the bastion host. So rest, keep everything default, and in case you already have some identity and access role in place for migrations and all those details, so you can keep it, make it false, else keep it true as per your requirement. So click on next. So once you click on next, everything keep by default. Select this option, preserve successfully provisioned resources. So in case there are some many minor errors while deploying this stack, it will not be rolled back, and we can test our practicals. Next. So this is the overview of this stack. So what is all going to be deployed? So we can use all this. So select these two options and click create stack. So our stack creation is in progress. So this will take around 15-20 minutes. So for the time being, I'll pause this video. So again, this will deploy our basic infrastructure, so that we need not to waste our time creating the infrastructure. So just for your information, this this will deploy on-premises sort of infrastructure on AWS. So to understand the demo, so I'm using this because creating on-premises infrastructure is not possible for demo purposes. It's available in real-time scenarios also, but for clearing the concepts, it's possible. So this stack will deploy, as I described in my previous slides. This will deploy bastion host and two applications that I have shared, and also deploy the target subnets and VPCs so that we can migrate our infrastructure. So I'll make you aware about all this. So once this stack deployment is complete, then I'll resume this video again. So we need to wait for like 15-20 minutes for this. So after that, I'll resume my video. Okay guys, so our stack has been deployed with some minor errors, so that's okay. It will not create any problem in testing our migration concept. So there are some errors that due to factory MG, and so there could be some error in this stack. So it is showing as failed, but that's okay. This will not stop. I tried to resolve this error, but due to some availability of resources, I'm getting this error. So, but that's okay. That's not any showstopper for testing our environment. So this is our bastion host that is ready, and if we go to our EC2 instances that are deployed, let's go to EC2 instances, the network that is deployed, network, the VPC, the instances, all that is deployed. So here you can see the infrastructure that we discussed before. DNS, internal DNS has been created, and for testing the purposes, and we have two applications. So in this we have WordPress database, WordPress web, we have Bastion host, and we have of another application of DB. So in this we have two applications as per the, let me show you the diagram also, you will get more clarity in this. So as per our diagram that we used before, so in this currently we are covering phase one. This Azure I'll cover in next video. So in this I am talking about this environment that is created using this stack. So we have Bastion host, we have one application, WordPress and its database, and WordPress, and another is Offbiz. So application and its database. So all this is deployed, and we will migrate this infrastructure from on-premises to AWS cloud. So using this Bastion host, we will access these servers, and there is a DNS server that is created to access these links on URL. So this is created. So mostly here we are testing environment internally only. We are not going over the internet, but mostly if we talk about real-time scenarios also, the only difference is that this DNS will be public. So in that case, they are directly accessing, and here we are just internally discussing, but that's not a hindrance any in clearing our concepts. So I hope the scenario is clear, and what we are trying to achieve, that is also clear. So let's go to the console and move forward. So this is our environment. So let's go back to our CloudFormation and Bastion host stack, and then access our Bastion host to access our servers. So you need to find Bastion host stack, that is there. Source Windows network, source Bastion output. So here in the Bastion host stack, you go to that stack and go to outputs. From here you will get this IP address. So let's copy this IP address and go to our remote desktop application. So paste the IP address. So from here we can access our root/administrator connect. So I hope you remember the password that we used during that time. So you need to use the same password, root/administrator admin@12. So here either you can use root/administrator or without that also, that's not a problem. So let's click on OK. So we are connected to our Bastion host. So again, we are using this IP address in the output tab. So if we go to our Bastion host, this is our Bastion host that is there. So from here, all the tools are deployed, RDP and PuTTY to access this. And so now, once everything is ready, let's test our applications that are deployed. The application that is deployed using the Bastion host. So internal DNS is already created. So let me get the links. So our Bastion host is ready. So let's try to access our WordPress application. So remote desktop. So yes, we are able to access our website. So this is the WordPress site that is available. So let's copy another application also. So let's paste the link of another application. So this is not secure, that's okay. Go to the web page. Okay. Add, close. So yes, we are able to access our second application also. So I hope you understand the environment. So our both applications are live, and we are able to access the applications using URLs. So all these URLs are possible to use using the DNS server that we have already created. So let's move forward and test the ADS. So let's get back to our presentation for more clarification. So this is our reference architecture that I have shown you. So from Bash host, I am accessing these applications. So as a part of application discovery services, before this migration reference architecture, we have deployed the stack and deployed the stack. So I hope you do not have any issues or any queries. In case you face any problem in deploying the stack, you can ping me or mention in the comments. I'll try to resolve your issues, and you can also send me email. So this is quite interesting and lengthy practical, so not an issue if you face any errors. So that's normal. So we have accessed our Bastion host and explore our environment. So we try to access this application using the URLs and this application. So this is WordPress and this is OffWiz application. So using this, we are tested our environment. So everything is working fine. So let's move forward. Now let's talk about application discovery service. So using application discovery service, we will enable ADS and enable Athena integration for analyzing the data on the ADS, and then install the ADS agents in the server, and then we will start data collections, and then we will browse the discovered data and view network connections of the servers and explore EC2 instance recommendations. So in this video, I'm going to cover this one. Athena part I'll cover in next video. So so I hope you understand the concept in this, and let's get back to our practical. So we are into this stack, and next part is to deploy the let's deploy the agents. And if we go to our migration hub, so migration hub is the tool that I used for monitoring the migration of all the resources. So this migration is a one destination for migration and modernization. So here this will be a tool that are used for monitoring purpose and all those status, grouping the applications, to watch the data that we are collecting. So once this is ready, then we will once we deploy the agents, then when we go to data collectors, then we will see all those servers over here. So let's go to our environment. And so when we deploy this, when we send commands to the agents to collect the data, it will start collecting the data, and this will collect like system specifications, time series utilization, performance data, network connection, process data. So this will collect a lot of data that will be helpful for for analyzing the servers and planning the migration. So that's quite helpful, and so more and more data that is possible to gather, so that makes our migration smooth. So next part is to create AWS credentials for ADS credentials. So the username that will be used for deploying the agents and keys, because it's recommended that you should not use the root account. So as per our recommendations, we will create separate account. So if you go to if you are not sure how to create these users and not sure about roles and responsibilities, and you should follow basic chapters how to create users and access the IAM. So don't directly jump to these advanced concepts of migration and all these things. So if you're not sure about creating instances or creating network connections or network infrastructure or any identity and access management, so I would recommend first go to those basic concepts. So clear those basic concepts and then understand how we are creating infrastructure and various network components, else you won't get the clear your concepts for migration, because in this migration we are talking at very high level and concentrating more on migration. So next step is that we need to check out the ADS credentials. So here you can either create your own account also in case it's not present. So in case it's created, so I'll guide you with that also. So let's go to identity and access management. So here I'm into identity and access management. So if we go to users, so I already have one ADS IAM user created. So you can also create that user, add user, and you can do, add required permissions for this group. So for this, you can add all these application discovery agent access, migration hub discovery access, and application discovery services full access. So this role can be can have all that access for collecting the data and for migration of the data. So for this, we need our security credentials also. So you need to So once the user is created, you need to download the access keys for that user, because that key will be used while deploying the agent. So if it is before created also, you can use that also, or you can create new also. So if you want to delete any previous keys, this is how you can do it. Just deactivate the key and you can delete the keys also. So that's how, if keys are not used, again, recommended practice, delete them. So create access key. So you can download the CSV also, or you can copy it also. So let's copy it in our credentials. So this is our security credentials and access key ID. So I'll let you know where we are going to use this. So just ensure that you download this key. So that's how, again, if you take down the permissions that we are going to add this, you need to add this discovery agent access hub, migration hub discovery access, and application discovery services full access. So you can add these in case this user is not created while deploying this stack. So that's not a problem. So let's get back and let's see the next steps and deploy the agents. So we have let's now, next step is install the agents on the servers. So if we go to migration hub, so here you can enable Athena migration also. So once servers are shown over here, then you can select and enable that. So in this migration hub, if we go to enable data export to Athena, so let's go to data collectors. and in agents. So here you can enable Athena export. So from here, if you enable this, so you understand the costing, and this not very expensive. So this is quite important aspect of migration. So all that data will be stored in in the S3. So some minimal charges will be there for data storage in S3. So select this and enable data exploration, because that's quite important to analyze the data. So select this and enable data exploration into Athena. So this will start your Athena export. So once we install the agents, so then all that data will be available over there. So also one more thing, if we go to settings, you can select your region also. So in which, so migration home region, select your US West, Oregon, and select that while using the migration hub for the first time. So enable this home region for this, because this migration hub is not available in all the regions. So this is available in specific regions only. So select your region, home region specifically, and move forward. So in this, I would recommend to use the US West for this demo purposes, and later you can change that also. So this is one. So let's move forward and deploy the agents on the servers. So so next step is download and install the server. So these are the commands that we are going to use. So to install the agent, we need to use access key. So copy this access ID and paste it into the command. So this will be used to install the agent. So this is the same one that we created it. So we will use these commands. So let's go to our Bastion host and access our our instances that are there. So this is our Bastion host, and let's connect to our servers. So here all these settings are already in place, the Office DV web and this one. So if we connect this, yes, so username was password, and username is user, password is admin123 that we selected during that time. So this is our off biz. So new connection, new session. Let's create off biz also, admin123. So we have connected off biz DB and our off biz web. So this is Office application components. So let's connect to our WordPress DB admin123. So we have connected WordPress DB also. So let's create new session and access the WordPress application. Yes, admin123. So we have connected our servers. So let's deploy the agents now. So let's download the agent on DB. So let's download the agents on all the servers. So this is a small agent, and that can be downloaded quickly. Let's unzip it. Run the same command on all the servers. So that's okay. So let's now install the agent. So let's install the agents on Office DB. Okay, so you can finish phase. So this is ready. So in this, let's install it on this also. Install on WordPress DB. Install on WordPress application. So we have deployed the agent. So if we go back to our migration hub, so all these agents will be available over there. So I am here into migration hub. So if we go to our data collectors, so let's go to data collectors and agents. So if we refresh by date, so today's date is this one. So these are the servers that are there, that 4 servers on which we have deployed the agent. And if we see the IP addresses, we can see that in our EC2 instances also. So if we go to EC2 instances, so this takes a little bit of time to like 5-10 minutes to gather the data. So if we go to our WordPress, so these are the IP addresses for our servers, like 114, and for web 187. So these are the instances that are shown over there. So similarly, also in case of on-premises, you will see like this only. So the IP addresses of the instances. So if we go to migration hub, so let's see when data is migrated. So let's go to data collectors and agents. So after some time, this will be shown as healthy, and then we can start exploring the data. So currently data as agents are running, so, and data collection has already started automatically, and this will export the data to Athena and healthy collecting the data. And once this is done, then we can start analyzing the data. So just for review purposes, so application discovery, we have enabled AWS user Athena integration, installed the agents, and data collection has been started. So this will take some time, then we start browsing the discovered data. So I hope you clear with the things that we have covered so far. So just for review purposes, this is the bastion host. We are accessing application server for WordPress, WordPress DB, or with application. So we are using our migration hub, ADS, and deployed the agents on all these servers. Deployed the agents on application, database, and agent of Wiz application server database. So now the replication has started, and all this communication is encrypted. So from security perspective, the data is being replicated, and all the data will be shown in the migration hub. So everything is secure from a security point of view. All this data will be encrypted. So IPO, I hope you understand the concepts, install the agents, and now we are accessing our migration hub, and to monitor the data and sync the data, and forward the data to Athena for analyzing it. So far, I think concepts are clear, and let's go back to our console and see the status of discovery of agents. So you can refresh this. So the agents are still running. So this will take some time. So once this is ready, then we will go to servers. And here we can see the servers that are there for today. So this one is the servers that we are talking about. Application. So I'll pause this video for some time, and for the time being, let's note down the IP addresses for our instances to identify these servers. So very important. So we are talking about DB 114. So this is our WordPress DB. So moving to next instance, WordPress web server. WordPress web. Office web 99. And Office DB. So this will be easy for us to identify the servers. So let's get back to our migration hub and see the status of servers, agents, data collectors, agents. So if we see by date, so for the time being, I'll pause this video. So once this is complete, I'll resume it. Okay, guys. So I am into Migration Hub. So as per our IP addresses that we noted down, so all those servers 178, 99, 187, 114. So they are replicating the data, and their health is into running. So they will keep on collecting the data. So this is for today's date. So by this time, they have almost collected the data, and now let's move to servers, and there we will see analysis of the servers, and so these are the 4 servers. So as a part of our practical stuff that we are going through, so these are the servers high-level architecture diagram, and we have collected the data, and let's now browse the discovered data and view the network connections and recommendations. So in this part, I'll cover these things, and also the grouping of applications. So these things we will cover in this. So if we take a look at on-premises web server, so this is all the data that is collected by ADS, application discovery agent. So all this operating system name, number of CPUs, network cards, free disk, total disk size, total RAM, and all these details. So and apart from that, we have a performance information. So usage, average, maximum, RAM usage, IOPS, and network reads, network writes. So all these things are very informative, and quite good information is there when we talk about the server existing performance and match the same performance when we are creating that on the AWS cloud. So we can think about recommendations of the instances over the cloud. So once you get all this data, that can be analyzed, and based on that we can suggest all that. So this is all about the servers basic information. So let's move to network part. So this is the information of one server in this, and if we select this server, so network part, it shows all the different IP address, operating system, and inbound ports on this server. So network parts show all those details, and similarly, if we go to another server, so this is showing the connections to all those different servers. So if we go back to servers and servers, yeah. So on-premises WordPress web and DB server. So this is database server. So again, a lot of information about IOPS, RAM usage, and network connection. So network, it will show a little bit different ports. So 5432 and 22 for SSH and 5432. So it's also showing. So once I'm moving this port, so you can see the change in the updation. So if I move my mouse to 22 port, so it's showing from where connections are made. So this is how it shows all those details for this. So this is our bash and host 552.137.137.18. So 137. So yeah, it will show the connections from that. So that this is the internal IP. Let me find that. Yes, 0.72. So from 0.72, this one is this. So from 0.72, it's showing all those connections. So if I move to 22, it's showing from there. And for 5432, it's showing from different servers. So that's how. So for this application service, so this is the database for off-which application. So it's showing the connections from their server, from web server. So this gives a lot of information for all what connections are being made and all those details. So if we select a number of servers, then it will again show quite interesting informations out of it. So if we see, if I select all these and click on visualize network, so this will again show all those in detail. So I hope you will be able to see. So you can see this. So this is on premises of which DB, that the same server I was showing you before, and this of which application 8443. So it's on published on that port. WordPress web server 22 and 80 port. So where all the connections are being made, and database for WordPress 3306. So these are different type of databases that are there in the practical. So a lot of information is there in this. So also one more thing I want to show is that we can group these servers also, like select this server, and then if we go to WordPress database, select this server and group as application. So here we can mention that WordPress application. So that's how we can describe this, the web and database. We can create a group of these applications. Also for this, if we select this server and this one, let's unselect this server, unselect this one, this is selected, so select this server, select, unselect. So let's group another application, group as application of Wiz app, of Wiz web and database. So that's how you group the applications in the bigger environment, so that it will be more informative to us. So if we go to applications, we can see all those applications. If we go to WordPress, so this will show all those servers in there. So this is again quite informative, and when you see there and servers, so a lot of information is there. You can get all the informations over there. So also it will be uploaded here of which servers are part of which application and all those details. So I covered the discovery of data that we collected it, and network part. So in network part, we can see all those different connections. So quite informative. So after this also we can see EC2 recommendations. So here if we select based on average utilization, so they will suggest the different type of servers that are there, and then you can export the recommendation. So this will download another Excel sheet. So from there you can analyze which server is there and what all details are there. So in that, so you can watch that. So by clicking on the export recommendation, you can download the recommendation. So if when you click on this, you will download. So you will see this kind of Excel sheet that's downloaded. So here again, you will get a lot of information about the host name, the operating system, all in detail, the version of the operating system. So number of CPUs and number of so all this details there, the RAM size that is there, so that is also there. We scroll down to right. So this is the recommendation that I was talking about on AWS. So they suggest, okay, as per the utilization and requirements, so this server are being suggested for creation on the AWS. So when we are migrating the servers from on-premises to AWS, we can use these servers to host those servers to be migrated on AWS. So all those details are there. So from here you can get all those details are there. So this is on demand basis. So as per the requirement, you can select different reservations, whether it's on demand or reserve prices. So you can do that. So these are the options I was pricing models that I was talking about. So that's again a lot of information that make the migration smooth and and get more information. So that was about the viewing of. So we have almost covered a lot of things in this. We have installed ADS, started data collection, browsed the discovered connections, viewing network connections, and explored EC2 recommendations. So that was it for this part about ADS, data being discovered, and exploring the EC2 recommendations. So I think the current practical, we have covered a lot of things. So in the next practical, I will talk about exploring the database data that we collected so far into AWS Athena. So I hope that will be again quite informative. So let's see you in the next video. I'm just avoiding to not to create lengthy videos and short videos. I'm covering it. So I'm stopping this video currently. So in case you have any doubts about any topic or any option or anything, just mention your questions in the comments or in the comments of this video, or also you can ping me on my email ID. I'll try to resolve your queries. I can expect a lot of queries will be there, but don't hesitate to ping me. Thank you. Hello everyone. So I hope you are doing good. And in my previous video, I covered basic things. So just overview. So I have covered the theoretical things, what all are there in the migration. And in the next video, we deployed an AWS stack. So we deployed this architecture and we deployed this VPCs, sort of on-premises data center, and deployed the application and their database servers and Bastion host through which we are managing that. And also then we using Migration Hub, we are monitoring the migration, and ADS, we deployed the agent, collected the database in AWS Migration Hub, and covered a lot of information in that. So in that, we explored the environment, access the Bastion host, and explore what all is there and tested the access. And also in my previous video, I covered about application discovery service, like installing the agent, collecting the data, browsing the data, viewing network connection, and EC2 recommendations. So in this video, let's talk about Athena also, where we can analyze the data, because when we talk about migration, there are a lot number of servers that are there that needs to be migrated. For example, 100 servers, so then there will be a lot of data that will be migrated. So using Athena, we can get a lot of information out of it. So in this Athena, we will run some queries and watch all this data that's being produced during collection, and we can analyze that. So in this, we can run various queries, and we can obtain IP addresses and host names for the servers, and identify servers with or without agents, and analyze system performance with the agents, the outbound connections, the inbound connections, and running software from port numbers. So all those, whatever information you want to gather, you can get that by running the query. So let's move forward to the console. So we are into AWS Migration Hub. So from here we can go to data collectors, agents, and from here we can see all that data in the Athena tool. So click on servers. So if we select our servers, so click on actions, view in Amazon Athena. So I've selected all those 4 servers, and let's go to Athena. So here I'm into AWS Amazon Athena. So here we can run various queries, and you will get a lot of information out of it. So I have cleared all those previous queries just for understanding. So if we go to settings, you can specify your location for S3 bucket also, where all those outputs of those queries that needs to be stored in this. And in that S3 bucket, we can see all those details, what all is being stored. So if we go to settings, editor. So here data source is AWS catalog, and this is the discovery service database that is being there. So using Amazon Athena, we can analyze all those requirements that are there. So here for these queries, I'll mention these queries in the help blog also. So from there you can copy the queries and run them. In case you are good at creating queries, you can create your own queries also, like what all thing needs to be created and all that. So let's run queries. So let me get the queries, and then we can start putting that. So obtain IP addresses from the servers, we can do that. So if we run this query in the editor, let's go to the console, just put the query and run. So I'll put these queries for your testing purpose, and no results as of now. Identify servers with or without agents. Run. Yeah. So all those that I have discovered before also and currently also. So this is showing all those details. So the servers that we identified, so it's installed on that. So all that database that is collected, so on the agent is running or not running. So this is showing all those details and the agents that are being running. So I'll copy this query in the helpful document. So from there you can get that. So I'll create this document, and you can just copy paste them for understanding and identify servers with or without agents. Okay, let's run few more queries, like analyze the system performance for servers with agents. So let me put this in the document. Let's run the query. Clear, run. Yeah, so from here you can fetch a lot of information is there, the operating system name, the version, and the free storage, used storage, RAM, used RAM. So all that data that's required for monitoring the performance of the servers. So you can do that, and you can download the results also on your local system. And also if we go to our bucket S3 demo, so let's go to the storage S3 bucket. So here we are into bucket Z my demo bucket. So identify with or without agents 2022. So you can browse this folder. So all that data is there. So whatever queries that we are running today for this date, so all that data is there. So you can download the data from the S3 bucket also. So quite helpful, and where we can store all this data over the AWS S3 bucket. So going back to Athena, again, there are a lot of more information is there. So that's how you can run queries. I'll mention other queries also, other queries to run this, other how we can do that. So basically what I'm trying to show is that you can run your own queries also, or you can ask DB guys to create your queries to analyze the data. So that's how things work in AWS Athena. So a basic understanding is how to use this tool and run various queries, and you can save your queries also for future. Also, I've saved these few queries, and and you can run that. So I'll paste all these queries in the helping documents, and you can just copy paste and run these. So the basic concept is once you get the data from discovery tool, then we uh, uh, get that data into the AWS Athena. In Athena, we are analyzing that data from various perspectives, whether utilization or number of agents that are being installed or running on the servers. So getting a lot of information, it's a just way of analyzing the data that's required and plan our infrastructure over AWS, and quite helpful to gather all that information and planning our migration smoothly on the AWS. So I hope that was quite helpful, and in this we ran these queries. And also just not to make this video quite lengthy, I'll put all these other queries in the helpful document. So using those queries, you can you can run these queries. So I have, just for demo purpose, I have ran these queries, and to track outbound communication, inbound communication, running identify softwares, I'll mention the queries in that, and you can just copy paste and run those queries for understanding. So just to avoiding to make lengthy video, I just ran these 3 queries, and rest of the queries you can run as per your requirement. So I hope it was helpful, and in the next video, so far we have collected the data, analyzed the data, and now we are going to migrate the server. So in the next video, I'll migrate the servers from so this is our diagram, reference diagram. So next video I'll cover the migration of the workloads. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Hello everyone. So I hope you are doing good, and as a part of series of migration videos, I'm on to another video. So this is the reference architecture we are talking about, and migration of these components to AWS. So we deployed this architecture. So in the previous videos, we have we deployed this architecture and then accessed the bash nodes, then explored our environment, and then using ADS, we installed the ADS, enabled Athena integration, and installed the agents, started the data collection, browsing the discovered data, and viewing network connections over in Migration Hub. So that was covered in ADS. Later, we explored all that data into AWS Athena, like different queries that we ran into Athena to analyze the data using queries. So we have discovered the data, analyzed the data. Now we have enough information to migrate the servers. So now we will talk about workload migration. So in this, we will talk about lift and shift approach, one of the migration approach that we mostly talk about. So using this AWS migration, we are going to rehost the workloads from on-premises to AWS environment. So I'll show here 2 types, one from customer data center and another from Microsoft Azure. So currently in this video, I am covering customer data center. And just for your information, we do not have actual data center. We have deployed this architecture on AWS itself, but on the separate VPC. But it gives enough clarity to clear the concepts of migration, because in demo purpose, we cannot create a customer data center. So we have deployed this and ran the tools, discovered the data, and now we will use application migration service to lift and shift these from to the target subnet in this. So we will learn how to rehost the workload using MGN migration service. That's the next generation of Cloud Endure migration. So Cloud Endure will be used for disaster recovery only, but for migrations, AWS shifted it to application migration service. And for many use cases, application migration service can be the best route to the cloud migrations. So that just a little bit theoretical things in this. And if we talk about a little bit more things, so this is the file that I upload in the blog, and you can use this. So here we will talk about application migration, minimize the time intensive and error prone, and automatically converting your source service from physical, virtual, and cloud infrastructure to run natively on AWS. And it further simplify your migration by automating it. So various benefits: cutover window of minutes only, and no data loss because everything is getting replicated. Large scale migrations, wide platform and source operating system support, automated migration. So that's the basic little bit about application migration service. And let's jump into AWS console and start creating the infrastructure. So first we will create one user in this and attach migration agent policy. and then we need to take a look at some replication settings. So let's go to AWS console. So this is Migration Hub. So if we go to Identity and Access Management, so go to Identity and Access Management, and let's see the MGN user. So I hope it should be already created. So I have already created this MGN user. So in this, you can create a new user and this policy, attach this policy, and then download the security keys for this that will be used for migration. So go to security credentials, and let's make this deactivate and download new keys. Delete. So create access key. So from here we can download the keys. So secret key, and then access ID. So we will use this in migration. So as per the best practice, we are not using the root account. So it's best recommended to use the specific role for this. So let's go to application migration service. So first we will talk about the so these were the previous servers that I tested. So this can be archived or mark archived. So these are already archived. Yes. So here we will see all those servers that we are going to migrate. So here, if we go to okay. Settings. So edit. So this is the replication settings template. So what I mean by a replication setting is that replication setting determine how data will be replicated from source servers to AWS are governed by replication setting templates, and which you configure before adding source server to application migration service. So this all migration will be governed by this template. So you can edit this template where you want to store that and all those details. So where you want to launch it, so you can do that. So here let's define our staging area. So I'll put all those required settings. So in the helping file, so let's select target public for staging area subnet, target public, and the replication instance type T3 small, and EBS storage GP2, default encryption, and always use application migration for this security group. So rest keep everything default. So click save template. So this is done now. So we have defined our launch template that will govern our migration. So now the next step is let's go to the servers that needs to be migrated. So all those servers will be shown over here. So let me go to the help file. So here what we do is I have mentioned all those commands. So let's install the agents on the server. So now we will go to our Bastion host over here. So I'll install all those servers, agent on all these servers. So on all the servers, let me minimize them. So I'm into our Bastion host that we accessed from our RDP tool. So So let's download the agent. So copy this first command and run that command on the server. So we have downloaded our agent, and let's install it. So here it will ask about the region in which we are migrating our servers. So here we have selected our US West to, so we are migrating our servers in this. So let's mention that. Download. And there is some error. Let's try again. Let's try this command again. Select the region. Okay, so now we need to put the access ID that we copied while creating that user. So I hope you have written that access ID for MGN user. So here we will copy that key and provide that access ID and share secret key. So let's copy this in this near this command. Okay, so it has accepted the our authentication. So now here it is asking what all disks needs to be replicated. So here we are replicating all the disks. So press enter. So all the volumes were replication identified. So this will start replication, and it will show the server over here. So similarly, we need to run those commands on our all the servers over here to identify the identify all those servers in the migration. So replication will start. We will see all these servers in the in the application migration service. So from there we can start migrating the servers. So far let's install the agents on all the services or all the source servers. I'm sorry. So copy this. So since this is a simple step, so I'll pause this video for some time so that I can to avoid making this video lengthy. So let me do this. So I'll pause this video, install the agents, and then get back. So guys, I have installed the agents on all the servers from Office DB, then Office WordPress web server and WordPress web, and on the WordPress DB server. So let's go to AWS console. So we can see this is the console for our application migration service. So in source server, so I can see all those servers on which we have installed the agent. So that will be shown over here. So the replication has been initiated. So this will take some time. So to replicate the data, and then we can start our migration. So this will take some time. And so if we go to this in the details of this server, so this is showing that it's not ready yet and replication is in progress. So it's replicating all that data that is there on the server, and you can see all these settings are there, the server info, the disk settings, So 8 gig is the disk that is on the server. So replication setting that we defined, launch setting on which this will be, the server will be launched. So we will look into launch settings as well. So for the time being, for which this server will be ready, these servers will be migrated. So initial sync, this has been started, so this will take some time. So for the time being, I'll pause this video and resume it. Okay guys, so all the instances has been replicated, snapshots has been created, and now all are healthy, and they are ready for testing. All the things are. Also, if you want to see all these things in the cloud trail also, so there also you can see what's all going on, what all details are there, what's running for this. So here also creating snapshot, assuming role, and so all these things are in detail are there for what's happening. So in case you want to troubleshoot anything, or need more insights into what all is happening, so you can check that in the cloud trail also. So here you are getting all those logs, what's being running in there. So quite helpful to see all these things are there. So if you open any one log, so you can get the details. So resource name on which this is going on, event record, what all is happening. So who is performing this, source IP, and event ID. So all those details are with which key access is being used. What's the AWS region? So all those details that you want to know, who is doing it, and at what time, and which region, which user. So you can get all those details in the cloud trail. So now all our servers are ready now. So next step is, so if we go back to the go back to our presentation. So we are talking about this environment. All these servers are now replicated. All these servers are now replicated using MGN application migration server to target subnet group. So if we move forward, so these steps so far we have covered. So create application IAM user. We have created the IAM user, and replication settings. We set that, install the agent on premises server. And also after this video, I'll cover for Microsoft Azure server, and let's configure the EC2 launch template. And then after that, we will launch the test instance. So next step is launch template, where we want to put these instances in which subnet and what kind of instance. So based on the recommendations also, we can decide the launch template also. So let's go back to AWS console. So here I'm into AWS console. So if we go to each server, so we can define the launch template also. So here it's ready for testing now. So if we go to launch settings, so here are different launch settings and launch template. So we can edit that. So let's right sizing. Let's disable this and save settings, and edit the launch template for EC2. Click on modify. So here we need to provide the same name. So let's provide the name of the server of with DB on premises server. So let's put the name as this one. And describe the name. Source template by default, that one is defined. So let's change the instance type. So currently it's selected as C4. Let's select C5 large, and no need to select the, let's select the target public. sorry, target private. So keep these settings same, and security group, so that you should not face any problem. And security group should be just a second, let me find these settings. Target security group is this one, and also we can use some settings for the storage. Let's select GP3, and yeah, so let's change these three settings: C5 instance, and subnet into target private, and security group, target security group, so that we can have relevant access to the servers to manage that. So these things needs to be selected very accurately, else you will face a lot of problem. So that's the main thing. So I'll mention all these things in the guide or in the blog, so you can do that. So let me put them. So in the this will help how we can edit the launch templates. So here we are editing the launch template. So we are changing these 4 things. So I'll mention that in the help book. So we are changing the machine type, the storage type, the target network, and the security group. So this will be made the changes. So create template. So after creating the template, so we are going to change the version for 8FA7. So view launch templates. So change the version of that. So select this and make this as a default template. Set default version. Select 3, set default version, so that when this instance will be launched, we need to select the same launch version for that. So similarly for other instances also, we have updated the launch template for this server. So if we select this one, go to launch setting, let's edit this one to none, save settings, and edit the modify the EC2 instance, modify, and a new window opens up. It goes to templates. So let's keep the name of that Office Web. So let's keep the template name this one, and select C5 large, and subnet target private, and security group target security group. So target security group, yeah. Create and also change the storage GP3 and create template. View 27AE last digits, 27AE. So modify set default version. So here select 3.1, set default version. So that's how you launch the change the launch template for that. So I'll make changes for rest of the 2 instances. So pausing this video so to avoid it making it lengthy. So I'll resume once I'm done with the settings for rest of the servers. Okay, guys, I have edited the default versions and edited the template. So all these are on the version 3 is the default version. So perform all those settings for the servers, for all the servers, and edit the launch template so that we can, if we want to edit any launch settings, you can edit that. So that was the main objective of this. So we have changed the launch settings, so they are ready for testing. So next step is launch test machines. So if we go to ready for testing, so uh, uh, ready for testing, launch for cutover replication. So here also you can control the replication settings. So here if you want to make changes on the server, so let's select all the servers and launch test instances. So this will launch the test instances for these servers. So I have selected all the 4 servers, click on launch. So again, this one job has been created for this. So if you want to see all those details in that, let's go to the server and initial replications finished our settings. So about the yes, this one. So here it will show all those details for this job. So job has been started and snapshot has been created. So from this snapshot, the latest setting it will pick up and then launch the test instance in that. Also, if we go to our EC2 instances, we can see over here the instances that being launched. So these MID are the previous ones, so it will launch more instances over here. So this will take some time. Snapshots are being taken. So this will create a migration conversion server. One is that, and then it will start creating the server. So it's similar kind of environment that is there in the cloud endure. Create conversion servers and then launch the test server. So here you can see all those things, servers. So here also we will see the instances that being created. So if we go to back to our migration service, so test is in progress, migration lifecycle has been changed, and if we go to any instance, so test is in progress. If we see this one, so started taking snapshot, finished taking the snapshot. So this will now create the test servers. So from here you can monitor what's actually going on. So these are the basic steps that happen behind the scenes, what all actually is happening for application migration service while migration of the servers. So taking the snapshots, this will create these servers. So if we go to our EC2 instances, we can see servers being launched. So these are the conversion servers being launched. Test is in progress. If we see the migration job, finish taking snapshot. Okay, so we have launched test instances, so we can see alert as we got successfully launched it. So now also for monitoring purpose, if we go to launch history, we can see the job ID that was created for this migration. So it'll take these snapshots and finish taking snapshots. So you can see the status of servers over here also. So also you can monitor it here also, and you can see the status. So now test is in progress and next status is ready for cutover. Also, if we go to our EC2 instances, so here these are the previous instances that are running on premises, and in parallel, we have created the premises, the servers on AWS. So all these servers are created, and these servers are on premises, and these servers were created by migration service to convert the servers. So that's how the basic concept of AWS migration service is, that it takes the snapshot of the on-premises server and then convert those servers on AWS and create a new machine. As so also you can see the instance type that we mentioned during our launch template. So same instance type is being used. So that's how you can change the launch settings of the instances. And after migration, the server that was created for migration, that has been terminated. So I hope you can get clear idea how things work. So let's move forward to next steps. And so next step is we need to cut over the instances. So here various tests can be performed on these servers, and we can test the servers. So test is in progress. If we go back to our to presentation, so just for understanding, we have migrated these servers, launch test. So until now migration is not complete. So we are at this step, launch the test instance. So far created user, replication settings, installing agent, and this will be done in separate, configuring the launch template. So now we will launch cutover instance. So let's move forward to next step in our in the practical. So next step is that now if we see the status of any server, so test is in progress, so ready for cutover. So let's go to servers and select these servers and mark them ready for cutover. Continue. So ready for cutover. So next step is, so once testing is performed, all those things are in place and we can move forward. So the next step is launch cutover instances. So let's select all these and launch cutover instances. Launch. So some of the applications are source included. So this is common error, so not a problem. So we need to wait for some more minutes, so then we can launch it. We need to wait for some more time. So some background API calls are in process, so we can try it again. So launch cutover instances, click on launch. One or more source API calls are currently being processed by a job, so we need to wait for some more minutes. So that's I hope you are getting the things. In case you have any problem, you can ping me again. I am saying ping me on my email ID and or mention in the comments of this video. So let's try again. Launch cutover instances, click on launch. Yes. So now cutover is in progress. Again, this will take some time, and until the finalized instances are being created in that. So in the launch history, we can monitor the job. So it will take the snapshot and again create the servers from that. So that's how you can start monitoring it, and the status is pending in this. Also, you can, if you go to EC2 instances, you can watch it over there also. So all the testing instances are being terminated now, and now it will create the finalized instances. So that's how things work in application migration. Test instance will be terminated, and now it will create the cutover instances. So let's go to AWS Application Migration Service. So here cutover is in progress, and then we will finalize the cutover, and change the DNS settings. So this is going to take some time. So for the time being, I'll pause this video. Okay, guys. So I'm resuming my video after launching the cutover instance. So cutover is in progress now, and next step is finalize cutover. So cutover instance has been launched now. So you can see the alerts over here. Also, if we go into any server, so you can check the status cutover is in progress. Before that, it was cutover. So also we can view in EC2 instance this server that has been launched. Also through this, we can monitor the job ID that was created for this. So taking the snapshot, creating the server from that, and the status is launched. Also, if we go to EC2 instances, so there also you can see. So previous test instances has been terminated, and now new instances are being are now created on it. So you can see all this. So previous are terminated, these are on premises instances. So that's how application migration works. So moving to servers. So next step is finalize cutover. So let's just change the status to finalize the cutover. So launched cutover, finalize cutover, finalize. So these instances will be marked as archived. Data replication has been disconnected now. So now the next step is we need to shut down the on-premises server and change the DNS settings. So if we go to our slide, so here just a review, we created IAM user, replication settings, installing agent on premises server, configuring EC2 instances, launch test instance, then cutover. Now next step is shut down the source servers, update the DNS, and finalize the cutover. So we have migrated all these servers to target subnet, and let me show you the reference architecture. So this is the reference architecture. So we will migrate all these servers. So let's perform the shutdown of the source environment and update the DNS settings on the AWS instances. So once everything is done, then we can access the AWS instances. So let's write down the IP addresses of the instances that has been launched. So these are these instances. So let's write down the IP addresses. So this is the IP address of WordPress on-premises environment. Next, go to instance of which DB instance. Next instance of which on premises. So these are the instances that has been created on AWS. So we will update the DNS settings on these servers and shut down the source servers. WordPress DB. So just for reference, so I have noted down the IP addresses of the target instances. So what I'm going to do is I'm now shut down the source instances, this one on premises. I'll shut down this, and instances has been created over here, and I will update the DNS settings of these instances, so that DNS will be directed towards these, and then we will again test the access of the instances. So I hope concept is clear so far. So let's go to our this is our Bastion host. So we are already accessing these servers. So these are all the on premises servers. So let's shut down them. Let me access the command. So you can use the same command, Control C. So shut down this one. Okay. Shut down this one. Okay. Shut down this one. Okay. Shut down. So I have shut down all the on-premises servers. So let's start new session to connect the on-premises AWS servers. So we have copied the IP addresses. So this one, open, yes, user, admin 123. So same password that we kept. So this is the first server. Let's copy the WordPress DB, new session. So I hope you remember the same user login and password is admin123. So this is WordPress DB, that is web. So let's copy the of which web server, new session, open, yes, user, admin123, and let's copy the of which database. New session, open, user, admin123. So we have connected to, these are the servers that are on AWS cloud. So next step is let's update the DNS settings on these servers. So let's copy the DNS settings and go to our console. So, sorry. Copy WordPress, yes, updated, DB, updated, web, updated, updated. So we have updated all the addresses. So if we again access the URL links that we used before, then we should be able to access this. So let's access this. So let's open the Internet Explorer. Yes, so our site is working. So this is the site that we are accessing from AWS web servers. So let's try to open the for off website. Enter. Yes, insecure. Go to web page. Okay. Okay, so both the applications are live now. So I hope you understood the concept. So both the servers are live and working fine. And now we are accessing the AWS servers. So that's how I hope you understand the concept. We shut down the servers and let's mark them archive. Actions, mark as archived. So they will be removed from the application migration dashboard. So if we come back to our to our site, so this is the reference architecture now. So we have migrated our WordPress app and DB, and migrated off which app and DB servers. So these are servers are created on AWS now, migrated from on-premises, updated the DNS server of on-premises, and now it's directing towards it. So when we access, so we are accessing these servers. Mostly in maybe in another use case, the global DNS server are used. So the settings can be changed in that also. So before it could be on premises, and after making the changes, it can be targeted to AWS cloud. So that's how in real scenario works. So here for testing, we created uh, internal ones. So I hope concept has been clarified, how we migrated the servers from on-premises to AWS using AWS Migration Service. So that was it for this video, and in the next slide, I'll cover the database migration. So now everything has been moved to AWS. Now we need to use it using DBS migration service. We will use the AWS managed database. So now currently the database is being deployed on the EC2 instance of AWS, but we need to modernize the infrastructure. So using DMS, we will migrate this database to AWS managed services. So I hope I have clarified your concepts. So this will understand the migration architecture and using AWS migration service. So if you like this video, kindly subscribe to the channel and like the video. In case you have any queries, don't hesitate to ping me or mention the comments. See you in the next video for database migration services. Hello everyone, I hope you are doing good and safe at your homes. So in my previous videos, I have covered the migration of customer data center to AWS cloud using various AWS services like Migration Hub, Application Discovery, Application Migration Service. So in this video, I'm going to cover migration from Microsoft Azure cloud. So here I am covering a different type of operating system. So here it was most Linux operating system that was deployed. So in this I am covering a Windows server, and just this will cover how to install agent on Windows. So you will get idea how to cover Windows server as well. So here I have installed Windows server, and plus I have enabled a web server on that, so that we can test a sort of application server to migrate to AWS. So I hope you understand the concept. So I'm directly pitching into a web server, Windows web server. I have already created a server on Azure. So in case you want to understand how to create a server, how to connect to a server, and how to create web server on that, you can watch my previous videos. But here I'm just starting from directly from the server, so that we can concentrate more on our migration concept. So I hope you understand the basic thing. So in this for moving forward, so we will install application discovery agent on the Windows server, and then we will gather the data and then discover the data. So it's this process is almost same as previous ones, just I want to make sure. In the next, then we will migrate the workload. So it's similar like what we did before, installing the agent, just a different way of installing the agent on the Windows server, but rest is same. We will launch the test instance cutover, and all these things. So let's move forward and go to Azure console. So I'm into my Azure console. So here I have already created one machine, and this is Windows machine. So On this, I have installed web server, which is published over internet. So Azure Windows Web Server is being published. So next step is let's go to instructions and install our application discovery agent on this. So I hope you remember this file. This file is containing all the instructions for migration for installing the agent. So this previous one is for Linux one, for Linux operating system, and this one for Windows. I am updating it. So let's open this link and install the application discovery agent. So this is the server that is created on Azure. So, and I have enabled web server on this. So this is a web server and page is published over the internet. I have already shown you. So let's install the application discovery agent on this. So open the Internet Explorer. So in case you face some problems in this to download any software for testing purposes, so go to server manager and disable these security settings for some time. So going here, go to local server, and here you will see enhanced settings, security settings. So it is off currently now. I have made it off. So just click on it. If it is on, just make it off so that you can download the softwares and later you can again enable it. So let's download the software. Control V, enter. So let's save this application discovery agent. Save it on the desktop. It's running some security scans. Okay, not a problem. So this is done. So run as administrator. Sorry, we have to run the command in the command line. So I hope you remember this file. So this file is created for all those commands. So I have mentioned these commands. So we will install the agent from here. So we have downloaded the agent already. So let's install the agent. So let's copy this command and go to our server. So here we have ran this command as this command prompt as administrator. So this we have downloaded this agent on the desktop. So let's run this command. So I have selected our region and the keys that are there. So let's install it. Enter. So this will install. I agree, install. So this will install the AWS Discovery Agent. So I removed that quite so that this can be seen. So let's see. I hope this should be seen in the services also. So it should be running. Let's verify that. Let's refresh this. So AWS Discovery Agent, yes, this is running. So you need to verify, okay, it's running. So I hope you understand the concept of installing application discovery agent on the Windows server. So that can be made quite also. So, but if you want to see how it is installing, so you can remove that option. So this will take some time until, so for the time being, we can, so let's install application migration agent on the server, Windows server. So let's go to our commands. So either you can keep this quiet one or you can remove it if you want to see it and ensure that agent is running in services. So let's go to our application migration service. So here I have updated the commands for Windows. So let's copy this and run the agent on the Windows server. So let's go to our server. So this is our web server, Windows web server on Azure. So let's download the agent, copy it, open Internet Explorer and save this file. Save as desktop. So this has been completed. Let's close this and right click, run as administrator. So this has started. So now the process is same. This will ask for region as we did in our Linux machines. So let's copy this region. Let's put the key ID of our the user that we created for migration. So let's copy these keys. Let's copy the access secret key. Yes, so now it is showing the drives. So let's select C drive only. So for testing purpose, we can select C drive only. So it's 28 gig. So this will take some time. So until it will appear in our application migration console. So, but this is the process how the agent is being installed on the server and on Windows server, and then it will start replication. So it's installing the replication agent onto the source server, and after some time the replication will start. So installing the AWS replication agent onto the source server. So I'll pause this video for the time being, and once it this agent appears in the application migration server. Okay guys, to continue our migration from Azure to AWS Cloud. So it took almost 2-3 hours for replication of the server of 128 GB. So I am into the our migration hub. So here if we go to our data collectors and agents, so our Windows Azure machine, it's still collecting the data, and it's running successfully. And if we go to the servers, so there also now it has replicated completely. So let's find our machine. So Windows Azure machine. So here it has collected all data and migration is still in progress. And so you can see all those details are there, number of cores, similarly as we done before. So not much difference. Only difference is how to install the the agents on Windows Server. That was my one perspective, and another is how to migrate from Azure. So it has all the performance data also, so CPU usage and average, maximum. So all those details are being shared over here, IOPS, kbps, and RAM, so minimum, average. So all those details are there. So also if we see the network also, so if you remember, we have opened 2 ports on this server. So if we select this server, yes, so you can see Windows 2019 data center, and 3389 port is allowed on this. So you can see we can get all that required network service, network information also. So all those details are here also. So I hope you get the idea what this is: data discovery, application discovery agent, all that information that is collected. So let's go to our application migration service. So there also, since I have already told you that this takes a lot of time to migrate from Azure. So if you have all the time, then you can do that. So here it has successfully completed the initial replication is finished of total replication of 128 GB, and now also I have tested it, so it was ready for testing once the replication was finished, and I have launched the test application also. So I selected it and I have launched the, similarly as we did in our previous migration also, so procedure is same. So I have launched the test instance also. So for this, because if you do that way, this will take another 30 minutes. So to cut it short, to make this video short, so I have done that. So it was ready for testing. I have launched the test instance, so test is in progress and instance is also ready. So if we go to the instance details, so this is the instance, so Windows, Azure, Mac. Also, I have edited the launch settings also of this server. So if we go to our launch settings, so as per our previous settings, I have made the changes. So I have changed the template ID, the instance type, and the storage type to GP3, the security group in which needs to be launched, in which subnet. So all these details were updated, and I modified the launch template and change the version as we did before in that case also. So I hope you remember those steps, and I need not to show that all those in detail. So if we go to instance details, so this is launched in target VPC in target private subnet. So if we go to our machine, so this is the launch and the source server that is running on Azure. So if we check the local local host, so we can see Azure Windows Web Server migration in progress. And if we test the public IP of this machine, let's test the public IP of this machine. Let's go to Azure portal. So this is Azure portal. So if we test, if we test this one, so we will get that same page. So I have migrated this instance on AWS, and for testing the same page, so I have attached the Elastic IP and also enabled the internet for this VPC. So if you want to test that, I hope you have clarification about how to enable internet and added the routes on that, and attach internet gateway so that we can have access from internet. So I have attached Elastic IP to this and enabled internet access using internet gateway and opened the ports from internet. I have enabled the ports from internet HTTP port so that I can access this page from internet. So if I go to that one, so if I access this one, so same page, but this is the Elastic IP of AWS. This is the Elastic IP that we attached on AWS. So now we can see we have one Azure, one server is running in Azure. Just for clarification, let me define that. So same web server that we created, and we assigned public IP and published the web page over the internet. So with Azure public IP, we are able to access it. And using application migration service, we migrated to this AWS. We did all that ADS also, application migration service, and migrated this server to Azure. To AWS, and assigned this Elastic IP to this one, to this instance, and accessed it over the internet using the same Elastic IP of AWS. And we are able to see this page over the internet. So that's how we performed testing of this server and how it worked. So I hope things are more clear now. So this is testing in progress. So we attached one public IP to this newly launched instance, and we tested the public web page over the same server. So this is how testing is performed now. Both servers are in sync, both the data is same. So we can now perform the cutover and all those things that are required for further to launch the cutover instance and all those details. So that can be done now. So if we go to our application migration, so currently test has been performed. So next is ready for cutover. So if we select that and ready for cutover, then ready for cutover and mark as ready for cutover and then launch cutover instances. So it's similar to that only. So once we launch this one, then we will shut down the original server and move all the traffic, make the changes of the elastic IP in the DNS, in the public DNS, and all that traffic will be moved to this server. So that's how it is done. I hope you do not require this, because if we launch cutover instance, that will take another 30 minutes because of the size of the server. So that will make video quite lengthy. But concept is same as we did before in our migration architecture that we launched from Bastion host, but it's similar. So here I just want to show that from Azure, I migrated to AWS and performed the testing. So just to clarify it. So I hope you have clear understanding how we migrated it. So let's get back to our presentation where I can clarify more. So this is our reference migration architecture. So here I just want to clarify diagrammatically. So in the first part, we migrated this from on-premises, and customer was also having some servers on Azure that needs to be migrated to AWS. So in this case, I migrated this Windows web server as I described before, and migrated over to this one, created a server over here using application migration service, analyzed the data using application discovery, discovered the data using application discovery service, and analyzed the data using migration hub. So once instance was launched, then we test the server using elastic IP by attaching it and access the web page over the internet. So, and we perform the testing. And so what we were able to access over here, we were able to access from this machine also. Now, after finalizing the cutover, we will shut down this machine, shut down it, and all the traffic will be moved to this machine. So I hope that clarifies how another use case, how we migrated from Azure, installing the agent and getting all that information. But this is a lot of time consuming. Just want to use another use case and add to your knowledge how to migrate from Azure, create a service and move it to it. So next step is that so we need to shut down the server that is running on Azure. So shut down the server and so let's go to Azure server. Sorry. Yeah, this one. So this is the Azure server, Windows server that we created. So let's shut down this, and since all the traffic has been moved to it, and we can shut down it. So this has been completed. We have shut down this server. So our migration is complete from Azure to AWS. So another very important thing is that since our demo is complete, so don't forget to remove the server from Azure. So if we go to our Azure instances, Azure Cloud. So if we go to our Azure machine, so don't forget to remove this. This is very important so that you should not be charged, because once you migrate the data also, you will be charged for that also. So just don't forget to delete this instance. Either go to, let's go to the resource group, go to home, the resource group, and delete all the things that are there in this. So click on delete and confirm yes, delete. So this will delete all those required components that are created it. So I hope things are clear, and I hope you gathered information how to migrate server from Azure to Windows Server from Azure to AWS. So thank you for watching the video. In case you have any queries, don't hesitate to ping me. So thanks for watching this video. See you in another video. Hello everyone, I hope you are doing good and safe at your homes. So just an overview what I have covered so far in this migration series. So I hope you remember, if you have seen my previous videos, we created the environment, created this whole environment, and by using CloudFormation stock, which is another interesting concept, infrastructure as a code. So that will also help you to add another concept in your skills. So we deployed this whole infrastructure and accessed from bash nodes all these servers, and then using Migration Hub, ADS, and application migration service, we we discovered the data and then analyze the data in the Migration Hub and Athena. And later, in the later part video, I created one server on Microsoft Azure and then migrated it to AWS cloud. So I hope you have enjoyed those concepts and might be helpful in clarifying your concepts and any queries, and you might have added more skills in more skills. So moving forward, just high level, we deployed the architecture, explored our environment, and installed the application discovery services agent, and explored the data in Athena, ran various queries into Athena to explore the data. And then we started with workload migration and migrated all the environment from on-premises customer data center and AWS Azure to Microsoft Azure to AWS. So that's how we performed, migrated, and then launched test instance, performed cutover, shut down the source environment, updated the DNS, and then finalized the cutover. So that's how migration works in lift and shift approach. Also, so this is the migrated reference architecture. We migrated all those on-premises servers onto instances of AWS EC2 instances. So migrated both the applications to AWS. So now in this video, I am going to talk about database migration using AWS DMS. So in this, just a reference architecture. So currently, Off-Biz app is in the scope of this video. In this practical, so Off-Biz app and Off-Biz database. So this is Postgre database. So we will migrate this database, which is on EC2 instance. So we will migrate that database to AWS managed Aurora DB. So this is a sort of modernizing our infrastructure or re-platform. So you will get more clarity once we do that. So, but if we talk theoretically into it, so now we have in my previous videos, we discussed how we migrated the infrastructure from on-premises to AWS in lift and shift approach. So lift and shift. So in this, once we are moved to AWS, we tested everything. Everything is working fine, same as on premises. But later on, to leverage the AWS cloud benefits, we need to modernize the infrastructure also. So as a part of modernize, uh, we will migrate the database that is running on EC2 instance to AWS managed database, so that we need not to worry about operations of DB, the high availability of DB, backup of database. So all those things that can be taken care by AWS managed services. So in this practical, I'm going to cover these things, and you will get to know what all steps are there in. So if we talk about various steps, then these are the steps that are there. So far we have migrated the workload. So as a part of modernize and optimize, we are performing this practical. So in this, we will create Aurora database for the source database to be migrated, on which we will migrate of biz DB to Aurora DB. So we need to create one target database also. Then we will launch a DMS replication instance, configure endpoints for source and target, then replicating database using DMS replication tasks. Then we will update the DNS entries for application server to communicate with hosted database. Then we will shut down the database that is running on EC2 instances, and application will start using the database on AWS managed database. So these after that we will clean up the resources. So once your demo is complete, so don't forget to clean your resources. So that's the basic steps in this. So this is the reference architecture. So once migration is done, so then at the later stage, this off-biz app will start using the Aurora DB. So migrated off-biz app EC2 and database has been migrated to AWS managed DB service. So using DMS service. So using our DMS service, we will migrate the database from EC2 instance to AWS Aurora DB. So that's high level what I'm going to cover in this. And the application that I am referring to is, so I hope you remember, this is our Bastion host. So in this, I have accessed this Office DB. So if we log in into this, so password is admin and Office. So this is our application that is running on EC2 instances with database. So just for testing purposes, whatever we have created on this, we can find that. So if we go to my profile, so these are the users that are created. So maybe we can create one new user, and we will see that same user will be there on the AWS managed database. So just for testing purpose, whether everything is getting migrated or not. So we can create one new user. So user like login ID migration DB demo, we can keep that name. So password, you can keep anything. Okay, so let's save. So cancel and done. So our migration DB demo user has been created. So we can see the same once database is migrated. So let's, as of now, log out from this application. So let's move forward to our okay, so I'm into Amazon RDS console. So let's create our database and see the practical of the things. So click on create database. So here use standard, and we are going to use Amazon Aurora. And so all the settings that are there in this, so I have mentioned all those settings in this document. So please create the database and keep the settings same, so that you should not face any problem at the later stage. So very important thing. So I'll make you aware about all these settings. So let's go to, so this is our ADS RDS console. So here I have mentioned all those settings. So single master, so selected Amazon Aurora. Okay guys, so here you need to select all the settings very carefully. So I have mentioned all those details in our command line commands notepad or link that I'll mentioned. So here select Amazon Aurora, and then select the second option, Amazon Aurora PostgreSQL compatibility edition, because our source database is PostgreSQL. So capacity keep a default, and available versions keep it default. Also templates, we are going to use dev test. So DB identifier mid of Wiz, and username of Wiz, and password you can keep admin123 admin123. So in DB instances, select burstable classes and DB T3 medium. So availability and durability, so this is demo, so don't create an Aurora replica. So connectivity part, so in connectivity, select target VPC. Subnet group, either you may get new to create a new also, or you can create your own also. So whatever it is by default, you can select that. So by default, it should be like create a new one. So public access not required. VPC security group, we are selecting target security group. Availability zone in 2A, and additional port, so 5432 port. So rest keep everything default. So here uncheck all these things like encryption is not enabled, and enable performance insights. You can disable that, and monitoring is not required. Maintenance, so you can keep this default. So let's click on create database. Our Aurora PostgreSQL database is ready. So this takes some time, like 5-10 minutes to get ready. So once this is ready, you can move to next step. So next step is we need to check the connectivity from our endpoint. So let's copy this our endpoint and use it. So the next step is that we need to log into our off-base DB. So I have taken the IP address of off-DB instance that is running on EC2 instance. So we need to run these commands on off-base DB to create the database and create login into the database. So let's go to our database. So here I am logged into our off-base DB that is running on EC2 instance. So make sure you run all those commands and create the database. So I run this command, then put the password. I ran this command and then put the password admin123. Then after we are logged into the database, then I created this database on this off-base DB database. So very important, don't miss this step. So let's get back to our next step. So our database is ready. So let's start configurations for migration. So let's go to our database migration service. Database migration service. So here our next step is, if we go to our commands, so here we need to create a subnet group for migration. So keep all these settings same as those ones. So by logging into DMS, click subnet groups. So let's click on subnet groups and create subnet group. So here just ensure that you need to keep all these same one. So let's copy these. Subnet group name, okay, description, migration immersion day, subnet group. So VPC we need to select target, and then add subnets. So let's add subnets. So select target Aurora 1 that contains target private. So just to ensure that we are selecting all those settings. So name, description, you can make it as per your own. So VPC, here we are selecting the target one. So just ensure that we are setting making correct configuration so that we should not face the problem. So in subnets, I have added target private and target Aurora. So click on create subnet. So our subnet has been created. So let's move to next step. So next step is click on replication instances. So next step is to create a replication instance. So here again, we need to create an instance that will be used for replication. So click on create replication instance. So here just ensure that you are using the correct configurations. So I'll make you aware, I have mentioned all those settings in the command line also. So command line helpful book. So from there you can copy all those settings. So just copy paste the commands that are there, all those settings that are there in the note document. So all those settings should be there. So here it's T3. So if we go to our console, so here name this one. So description, you can keep it as per your understanding. So instance class DMS T3 medium. So let's keep all these are default settings. So allocation storage. So in VPC, just ensure to select VPC target and multi-AZ, keep it default, uncheck publicly accessible. So replication subnet group off with subnet group that was created before. Availability zone 2A and security group are target security group. So rest keep default and click on create. So failover setting, you can dev or test single AZ. So click on create. So this will take some time to create. So for the time being, I'll pause this video. So since there are a lot of things that take time, so that's why I need to pause the video so that it do not get lengthy. So I'll resume it once this is ready. Okay, our replication instance is ready. So now we need to define the source and destination, source and target endpoints. So before defining that, let's go to our document. So here, next step is we need to define source and target endpoints in this. So before that, let's go to our DB on-premises DB and get the private IP of that. So if we go to our instances, EC2 instances, so let's find the Office DB on-premises instance. Yes. So these are the instances that are running. So and these are the on-premises one. So we can shut down that later also. So most of them are shut down. So these are the 4 instances C5 that are running on AWS. So we are concentrating on these. So currently the instances that are in scope are Office DB and Office on web on-premises. So just to make it clear. So for on-premises DB, let's write down the private IP. So let's write down that in our IP address. So let's get back to DBS and create the endpoints. So let's get back to database migration service. And so here we need to click on create endpoints and select create endpoint. So click on this. So here first we need to select the source and then select the target endpoint. So let me make these settings and then I'll make you aware about that. So follow all these instructions that are there in the document. So here select source endpoint. This needs to be unchecked and identifier source of biz. so that application that is in the scope. So source engine, select PostgreSQL. So we are concentrating on PostgreSQL database. And access to endpoint, select provide access information manually. So server name, put the IP address that we just copied, port 5432, username of Wiz, and password that we kept during our database, admin123, database name of Wiz, and go to test endpoint connection. So here select VPC target and replication instance, this one. So and click run test. So this test should run successfully before creating the endpoint. So this test will take some time to run the test. So will show its testing status successful. So once this is done, so it is running the test, and let's wait for some time. So let me pause the video. Okay, after like 1 or 2 minutes, this was successful. So status is successful. So until it's not successful, do not create the endpoint. So click on create endpoint. So our endpoint is created now. So now we need to create the target one. So click on create endpoint, select target. So let me get the settings for that also. So now we need to create target endpoint. So I have mentioned all those commands to create the target endpoint. So keep all those settings same while creating it. So I'll make you aware about the settings in this GUI also. So select target endpoint, select RDS database instance. So RDS instance by default is selected. So identifier target of base and target engine by default, they have selected PostgreSQL, and let's provide the access. So these all gets populated automatically. So only you need to mention the username, the password, admin123, database name of Wiz, and let's go to test endpoint connection, target VPC target, replication instance made the of Wiz replication instance that was created. So let's click on run test. So it's doing the test. So let me pause the video until it's successful. Okay, our connection is successful now. Let's create endpoint. So our target of Wiz is created and source is created. So let's move to next step. Okay, I'm into AWS DMS. So our next step is creation of database migration task. So here we need to create the task, and as per our document that I've created for this. So we need to create and monitor the task. So this is all where work happens. So we need to specify tables and schemas that will be migrated. So such as login requirements, control, table data, and error handling. So we have to create all these this migration task. So let's create on create task. So here we need to put all those settings that I have mentioned in this document. So you can use all those settings. So let me make the settings, and then I'll make you aware about all these settings. So go to the DMS and then click on database migration task. So click create tasks. So we need to put all these settings in this. So guys, as per the commands that I have mentioned in the document, so create all those. So task identifier, mention the name. So replication instance, select the replication instance that we created in our previous step. Source data points, endpoints. So you remember the endpoints that we created, source of Wiz, and target endpoint, target of Wiz, migration, existing data. So select this. So task settings wizard. So keep this default only. So keep this default, and then table mappings. So this is quite important. So select wizard, schema, enter schema, put percentage sign, schema name, and table name. So after this, click create task. So click on create task. So this will create the task and this will take some time. So this is now copying the database. So creating a task and then this will migrate the database. So this will take some time. So for the time being, I'll pause this video. So this is still running and the database is being migrated. So it's 96%. So I hope this will complete in like 5-10 minutes it takes to complete. So let's wait for it. Okay, so our load is complete and our database has been migrated. So we can see it's 100% progress. So the now next step is that we need to update the settings on the source database so that we can redirect towards new database. Okay, so let's move to our command lines. So the next step is shut down the source server and update the DNS. Now we will go to our off-base DB and then update the settings in that. So let's go to our database that is running on the EC2 instance. So if we go to our bash and host, so let me copy the command. So let's copy this command. So currently it's towards the off-base DB, and that is 10.0.1.1.5. So current the database that is running on this. So let's update the DNS records so that this can point to towards the AWS managed database. So let's move forward and let's update the ADDR. So using this will be pointed towards. So I hope you remember this endpoint that we copied in the start of creating of this database. So let's copy this and paste it. So this has been updated. So let's run this DNS commands so that database can point to AWS database. Yes, that's done. So our application is running. So if we see, so now if we see is complete. So if we see our NS lookup for database, so this will be pointed towards. Yes, now you can see that previously, so this is the difference in this. So if you see that previously when we ran NS lookup for our database, so this was pointing towards our database that is on the EC2 instance. So now if we go down, so let me increase the size of this one. Sorry. Yes. So here you can see the difference. So here previously when we take a look at this command, so we got this output. So it was pointing towards the database on the on EC2 instance. So now when we ran again this command ns lookup for this database, so now we are getting that it's being pointed towards database that is running on AWS after updating the database on the after updating the DNS settings. So now database is being pointed towards AWS. All the database has been migrated from EC2 instance to AWS managed Aurora database. So also let's check our application. Let's log into the application. So this is our application that is running. So let's log in into this of Viz. Password is let me get it from the file. So I have mentioned admin and password is of Viz. So let's go to this. Admin password is of Viz. So yes, we can successfully log in into this. So if we go to my profile, So yes, the user that we created migration DB demo is still there. So we can see that all the database has been migrated. So that was just for demo purpose. And we can verify that now data is being pointed towards our new database, and we are successfully using this. So I hope you got the concept. So I'll update this sheet and for your reference. So our database is running and we have successfully migrated the database. So if we go to our presentation, so now previously this was the scenario uh, of this database, of this application. So this is the application that is in scope for database migration. So previously this app was connected to this database. So now we are using database migration service. We have migrated this database towards AWS managed database. So if we move forward, so this has been migrated. So now this app is connected towards AWS Aurora DB. So I hope that helps to clarify your concept of database migration, very important concept. So just to make sure that use all the settings that I have mentioned in the document, don't miss any setting, else you will get the errors. So I hope I have clarified each and everything. In case you still face any problem, don't hesitate to ping me. I'll be there to help you out. So that was it for this part. And if you like this video, you can subscribe to my channel also. And in case you have any problem, you can ping me on this email ID. So that's all for this video. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. So I hope you're doing good. So this is the last video as a part of migration services and very important to avoid any charging. So I hope you have understood the concepts of migration from Azure cloud and customer data center to AWS. So as per the components that we have created, so you need to delete those components. So you need to, since we created the components both on AWS and Microsoft Azure cloud, so make sure that you have removed all the components. So in AWS, do remember to clean the data migration service cleanup and database that components that we created, EC2 instances, elastic IPs, release those elastic IPs, delete any snapshots that were created, and in the end, you can delete the CloudFormation stack that we created to deploy this architecture. So that was a part of AWS cleanup, and as a part of Microsoft Azure, just ensure that you have deleted the VM and all those components that were created for that VM that were there. So just ensure that you are not being charged for all these components. If you leave any of these components uh, uh, kept in the AWS cloud or Microsoft Azure, so you will be charged for that. And if you review any, like after 2-3 days, you will be charged a lot of money out of this. Also for testing this environment, there will be some charging for this. So just keep in mind, you need to pay those bills to AWS Cloud. So if we go to our if we go to our AWS console, so just a second. So also I'll show you how to delete those components in AWS console. So I'm here into database migration service. So making sure that you delete the endpoints that we created and the replication instance that we created. So you can delete this. Click on action, delete. Also data migration task. So everything needs to be clear. Also, if you go to RDS, so you can delete this. The database that we created over here. Because there is a billing for this, all these components, so to avoid any charging, so just delete that. Click on actions, delete. So you do not require any snapshot. You can uncheck this and click on delete me. Click on delete. So this will start deleting the components. So after some time you can refresh and check it. So if we go to our EC2 instances, so here you can click on instances that are running in this region. So all these instances are there. So select it and click on instance, terminate instances. So this will delete all those instances that are running because we do not require them any of now. Click on elastic IPs. So you can select them, disassociate, and so this one is associated only. So if we select this, disassociate, yes, now you can release these IP addresses. So I think this will be deleted as a part of CloudFormation stack. That's why you're not getting that option. So no problem, this will be deleted during that. So go to snapshots. So a lot of snapshots are created in this. You can delete this also. So volume, just verify there is nothing in the volume. So this will be automatically deleted once you terminate the instance. So let's go to CloudFormation also. So in CloudFormation, just select the main stack, migration immersion day. So click on delete stack. So this will start delete all the nested stacks also. So that's all for this video. Just want to remind you to clean the environment. So just verify once all these things are deleted, there is nothing left out of at the end. So I hope all these series of videos are helpful for clarifying your migration concepts for so ADS, Athena, and application migration. So and also database migration service. So if you like this video, do subscribe to my channel for more exciting videos in future. Thank you very much. Bye bye.